Tandem Nomads episode 247. What is the reverse side of being stuck? Hint, it is not getting unstuck. Today we are going to talk about why are you probably stuck in your business and struggle to move forward. I'm going to share with you some important insights and hopefully you will suddenly feel free to move forward in your business. Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads, the podcast show and entrepreneurship platform where you can find great inspiration and tips to grow a successful portable business and thrive in your global nomadic life. This is your host, Emel Deregi. Oh boy, today I have a really spicy topic to talk to you about. And I've been really thinking lately about what is that big message I want to share with you this year so that you can take your business to the next level. So I sat down and I was thinking, okay, what is the common thing between the clients who come to me when we just start working together? What do I notice as a common thread? And that's when I realized that there was one thing that was common to all of them is that they felt stuck. And the reason why they felt stuck was not because they were not smart. It wasn't because they were not committed, because they wouldn't be committing to working with me anyways, but because they struggled to make decisions. Is that you, Nomad Nation? Do you struggle to make decisions? Or are you the kind who just makes a decision and runs with it in your business and sees where it goes? Or do you find yourself overthinking, rambling, turning around the pot, whatever expression you use, and getting literally stuck by not making decisions? So this is why people get stuck, because they don't make decisions. And this is a big one that I realize as you move forward in your journey as an entrepreneur. One of the highest quality you need to develop, or the biggest muscle you need to train as an entrepreneur, is to make decisions. So before I go into some guidance on how you can train your brain to make decisions, I want to share with you some of the top 3 reasons why I think people don't make decisions. The first one being afraid to make mistakes. Or in other words, afraid to make the wrong decision. And sometimes even the fear of missing out by making a decision and thinking that that decision would lead to missing out on something else. And I'll give you an example. But that is the first thing, afraid of making a mistake, taking the wrong decisions, or missing out on something. So I want you to think about that, Nomad Nation. Is that you? Are you afraid of making mistakes? The second reason why a lot of people don't make decisions is because they overthink. Overthinking is the worst thing you can do in your business. And often overthinking with your emotions instead of your brain. But even with the brain, I found it interesting that most people that overthink are actually overthinking about the how aspects of the decision. So they know that they need to do something, for instance, make that XYZ decision, but they're feeling stuck because they're already thinking about the how to make that decision rather than actually starting by making that decision and then figuring out the how. So because you don't know the how, you might be really scared to take the decision. So this is really important to tackle here. So the second one is overthinking. And I want to know, Nomad Nation, are you identifying with that? Are you overthinking all the time what you need to do in your business and sometimes even in your life? And the third common thing that I see is simply not creating the brain space that's necessary for you to take decisions. And that's what makes a difference between entrepreneurs who work on their business versus those who work in their business. You definitely don't want to get caught into that spiral where you continuously run after tasks and all the things you have to do and never take a moment to step back and to simply take a breath, think about the overall picture, and make a decision. So is that you, Nomad Nation? So no worries, no matter which situation you are in. First of all, know that it's totally normal. And just by being aware of it, I think that you will be so much far ahead than by just letting things go and not taking action on it. And I'm going to give you now some simple guidance for each situation to help you move forward and make decisions. So Nomad Nation, you gotta make decisions. All right, so the first situation, let's say that you're in this situation where you are afraid to make mistakes. First of all, take a moment to actually analyze in which situation you are, and if you really resonate with that, you might initially tell to yourself, this is not me, but I really want you to think about it. Do you fear the consequences of your decisions, and is that what is freezing you from making any? Or do you sometimes actually simply are afraid of missing out on other options if you say yes to something? The typical example that I see very often is when I ask my clients to choose a very small and specific niche to target in their market. And very often the answer I get is, oh no, what if other people want to use my services or my products? What if I actually have other great opportunities out there in those other places where I could develop my brand? And this fear of missing out is exactly what freezes most people, and especially when it's about that first decision in your business, which is deciding who you want to work with and being super, super specific about it. You might have heard me before say this many times. If you try to resonate with everybody, you will resonate with nobody. So how do you deal with that fear of making mistakes? How do you deal with that fear of missing out? I want to share with you really simple tricks to train your brain to make decisions. The first step, if you're afraid of making mistakes, is to simply make sure that you have done your homework of gathering the information you need to make that decision. What kind of information do you need to make that decision? This is the first question you want to ask yourself. But here is the trick. I don't want you to get stuck in research mode either. At some point, when you've got some information, enough for you to be educated on the topic and know enough what you have and should do in the area, then simply trust your guts. At some point, it's not the data, it's not the information that you will find, is actually listening to your guts and trusting your guts instead of listening to all the doubts you have. And this is where people make mistakes. They pay so much more attention to their doubts and are so little tuned with their own gut feeling. Or in other words, their heart feeling. Actually, ultimately what I want you to do is listen to your heart. What is your heart telling you? Because your heart is pure. Your heart doesn't have doubts or fears. It is your brain that is filling you up with thinking about all the consequences of what could be a decision that's taken in the wrong way, or what could be all those things that you're missing if you make a decision that's going towards the other direction. So don't overthink this, and make sure to do the research, do your homework, ask people around you around the decision you need, surround yourself with people who can help you, surround yourself with the resources you need. But at some point, you and only you can make those decisions. And that's what I often say to my clients when I work with them. I help them, I guide them, I coach them, I consult them, I train them. But ultimately, it's their decision. They need to trust their heart. And it sometimes happens. I make a recommendation and then I would ask, what is your heart telling you? And then when my clients will say, I actually feel like I would do this instead, then I would encourage that, because I truly believe that it is more important to be aligned with your decisions in your body and your mind than trying to make the right decision. That alignment is so key to becoming a leader. Leaders don't always make the perfect decisions, but they have the confidence in their decisions. And it's that confidence that allows a whole team, that allows the clients, that allows all the people around the leader to actually believe in them and trust them through the process. And that's more important than whether the decision is right or not. And the reason I'm saying this is because even if you're taking the wrong decision, it's the wrong decision that will lead you to the right decision. Whereas not making decisions will lead you literally nowhere because you're not making decisions. You're just being stuck in that place and not moving forward. As soon as you realize that even your mistakes will actually lead you to a better place, you will start feeling confident about taking straightforward decisions, no matter if you are sure or not of the outcome. Did you hear that well, Nomad Nation? If not, I want you to listen to this again. Go back and listen to it again. It is your wrong decisions that will lead you to the right ones and keep you moving forward. Now let's talk about scenario number 2 that leads most people to not take decisions, which is overthinking. Overthinking everything. And specifically, overthinking all the how aspects of how to bring that potential decision to reality before even making that decision. And making that decision dependent on the how is not the way you actually make decisions. You first make decisions and then you figure out the how. You don't figure out the how and then decide if you're going to do that. It's so important, again, that you're in alignment with what you really want to achieve. And if that decision is what will help you achieve that goal, then make the decision to do it and then figure out the how. And trust me, when you come from a place where the decision is made and then you do the research of the how, your energy will be so much more different than when you try to figure out the how while at the same time trying to figure out if that's actually the decision you want to make. Indeed, you will show up more confident and more secure about the next steps of bringing that decision to reality. So you might wonder what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to give you an example. The most typical example that I see is people in the early stages of thinking of having a business. And I often hear this, oh, I have an idea of this business. I really love it and I'd love to do that, but I don't know if I should register. What about the taxes? And what about the website? What about how much I have to invest? And what about I move another country and I can't do this there? These are all the questions I keep hearing all the time when I talk to people who are having an idea they're really passionate about, but they haven't decided yet to launch it and make it happen. And some people take years of questioning, years of their life of wondering if they should even think of that idea as a possibility, that it actually becomes the comfort zone to just question. And everything else becomes so challenging. And the more they keep thinking about it, and the less they take action and make decisions, the less chances they actually get to realize their dreams. Because for them, that decision is dependent on the how. Whereas people who actually made the decision, they are going to launch this business, show up so much differently in the next steps of launching their business. And I've talked to many successful entrepreneurs. So many of them would tell me, well, I had this idea, I decided to launch it, I decided to make it happen, but I had no idea how. I just decided to do it, and then I figured it out step by step. And that is the difference between the people who succeed in business and those who don't. And I can tell you from my experience that there's something that happens energetically when you come from a place of decision making. When you actually make that decision, suddenly all the how-to-dos start making sense and start coming together. And I remember when I decided to really do something about dual career challenges, I was really decided to do about it something. I'm going to do this. I don't know how. I'm going to do it. And the first thing I did was to talk about it to my friends and to my husband, and even try to include some of my friends in this journey to then figure out the how. But the decision was made. Turns out my friends were not into it anymore, but I had made the decision. So as soon as I discovered podcasting, I knew this was exactly what I was going to do, but I had no idea how to run a podcast. And I didn't ask myself how I'm going to run a podcast actually. But funny enough, from the moment I decided to start a podcast and I had my aha moment with podcasting, for some reason, suddenly I found a course coming along my way. I don't know how it happened, but I suddenly discovered the online course of John Lee Dumas, who was my first mentor in this journey, and thanks to whom I learned how to podcast. And the rest was history. When I say the rest is history, it's a series of other decisions I made to be able to get one step closer to launching my business, Tandem Nomads, and then growing it and taking it to where it is today, one decision at a time. So my final word for you for this second scenario is make your decision first and then figure out all the aspects of the how, and don't try to figure out all the hows of making this decision come to reality, but just take it one step at a time. And if you struggle to know what are those steps, simply do the research or reach out to people who've been doing this before you, or take a course, go ask help to a friend. But these should not be the reasons why you stop making that decision. And by the way, one more thing that I realized while I say that, one of the things where people get stuck and making decisions is when it's about investing. Be it any kind of investment and any kind of amount. It can be even with small amounts. I've seen that happen. Not making decisions. And the reason why you wouldn't invest in something, if you look at it really well, your hesitation might not come from whether this is a good investment or not, but it might come from the fact that initially you have not taken the decision for which you're trying to figure out the how. So once you know why you're taking that decision and you're actually taking it, it's going to be so much easier for you to know what do you want to invest in and how much you're willing to invest in something. Because your energy will be so much more different and your commitment and determination will be so much more different when you've taken that decision. And now scenario 3 is for those who don't take decisions for the simple reason that they just don't take the space and the time to make those decisions and keep working in their business instead of working on their business. So this is something that so many small business owners struggle with. They keep working on the execution of their business and stop looking at the big vision, the big picture, and ultimately they stop making critical decisions so that they can move forward in their business and take it to the next level. And that's the big danger, because that behavior has been proven statistically that it actually leads to bankruptcy. The way small business owners lead their businesses without looking forward, without giving the space and the time to think about those big picture decisions, are the reasons why a lot of people fail. So don't do that. This is so important. This is a critical activity to actually have space to breathe and make decisions. And the reason why I talk about space is because it doesn't always have to be something that takes time. It's more about being intentional about creating that brain space, creating that moment on a consistent base where you actually think about the big picture of your business, where you actually make decisions about your business. For example, for me, Mondays are the days that I do on a weekly basis. Every Monday is the day where I dedicate 2 hours for decisions, for big picture decisions and strategic decisions in the business. So the more consistently you do that, the more chances you'll be able to be intentional about the way you lead your business and ask yourself regularly the right questions. But like I said, it's not always about having a lot of time for this. It's more about creating small micro moments, if possible, for those decisions to be able to happen. And sometimes it can be as simple as going for a walk, sometimes just disconnecting a little bit, or doing a creative activity that will help you have clarity so that you can make those decisions without being in a place of fear of missing out, fear of making the wrong decision, but also simply out of rushing and knowing that you have to make a decision, but you don't even have the time to actually really think about it. And again, when I say think about it, I'm not talking about overthinking, which leads to what I was talking about before. But yeah, just leaving the brain space for you to make decisions is really important. For example, I can give you the example of this episode. I've been really looking for an episode to talk about something a little bit different than marketing strategies, but what actually makes you move forward in your journey. And all I could keep coming back were marketing strategies, and I didn't want to talk about marketing strategies, which I'm still going to talk at the end of this episode real quickly. But I was really stuck. I couldn't figure out what is it that I need to share with you so that you can move forward in your business. And then I left my desk and I actually went to my husband and said, listen, I have to make this podcast and I'm stuck. I can't figure out an idea. So I'm going to go to the shower. I'm going to take a shower, a hot shower, and I'm not going to leave until I feel like I have the brain space and that creativity to come up with an idea. And this is how this idea came in my hot shower. So leave that moment for you whenever you feel stuck. Try to pause and do something else completely different than try to come up with that decision. That little moment of letting go is sometimes that little magical thing that will bring up your ideas and also give you clarity on the decisions you need to make. And on top of those little moments, there's also other bigger moments, more intentional moments that I really recommend you to have in your business routines. I talked to you about my Mondays, but I also have my Fridays where I actually meet with my mastermind. And with my mastermind, we actually just let that space where we actually need to make decisions, have some feedback. So think about how you can get accountability from other partners, other peers, or coaches, or whoever can help you in your journey that can also give you the accountability of having regular time in your business to think big picture and make strategic decisions. It actually reminds me of one of the best advice I had from one of my old mentors who told me what you need to do to succeed in your business or in your career or even in your life is to create your own board of directors where the only interest of the directors is your own success. So this is what accountability peers or masterminds or groups with certain projects where you work together can really be helpful. All right, so today I shared with you the reason why I think people get stuck and the reasons why they don't take decisions. So I shared with you these 3 scenarios and some tips to deal with it. But before we end this episode, I was thinking, what kind of decisions do you typically need to make to actually grow your business? And I want to share with you a couple of decisions that I know from my experience a lot of small business owners get stuck with, especially in the early stages, but sometimes even once they start making revenue and need to move their business to the next level or pivot, these are some of the decisions where they get stuck. So I'm going to share with you those 9 key decisions. And if you feel like one or many of them are areas where you struggle to make decisions, then I really want you to make sure to look into the workbook that I have for you in this episode. So you go to tandemnomads.com/247 and I have a workbook for you. But also, if you're listening to this episode in January, then make sure to stay tuned, because in February, I'm actually starting a boot camp to help you take these decisions. And we're going to make you take these decisions in 4 weeks so that you can kick off this year and ignite the year 2022 with amazing plan ahead of you and clear decisions so that you can be in control of your business and feel lighter, because all those questions that having in your head are gone. But here are those 9 key strategic decisions you need to take in your business to take it to the next level. The first one is deciding who is your ideal niche. Remember, if you try to resonate with everybody, you will resonate with nobody. So you need to define your specific small niche. The second one is, what is the specific problem that you want to solve for your clients? Don't try to solve all the problems. Position yourself in the market by being very specific and clear about the way you describe the problem you solve in your business. The third decision you need to make is your business model and your pricing strategy. Oh boy, that's another one where so many people get stuck, especially as they let their limiting beliefs and their insecurities lead the way to that decision. This is not how you make decisions about pricing. Then fourth is your marketing plan. You need to decide how are you going to get your clients and what are your key strategies. And from there, you need to build a marketing plan that you will follow consistently. Also, the fifth decision you need to make is your content plan. What kind of content are you going to share with your audience to make sure to be seen and trusted and liked, and that you start becoming the go-to expert in your industry? And that is really key, that you are able to decide what kind of content is going to lead you there. The sixth key decision that you need to take to build a successful portable business, and this is so crucial, is your list building strategy. How are you going to grow your list? This is crucial. The seventh key decision is to define how you are going to describe your offers and how are you actually transforming your services, your packages into irresistible offers. So this is another key point that you absolutely need to be able to do in order to grow your revenue and actually make clients want to buy from you. And here is the eighth decision that I know so many people at early stages, but also down the road a little bit, struggle with, which is defining your revenue goals. And when doing that, making sure that it is ambitious enough and realistic enough at the same time that you can actually achieve it without getting overwhelmed, but not too comfortable, so that you can be challenged and motivated to take your business to the next level. And finally, the ninth key decision is your promotional plan. If you don't have right now a calendar where you have defined what you're going to sell when, how are you going to do it and when, then it's going to be very difficult for you to actually achieve your goals. You need to decide how you are going to achieve those revenue goals and when and how are you going to sell those products that you have. And that's what the promotional plan is for. So I hope that while you listen to me, that you will nodding your head and saying, yes, got that. Yes, got that. If that's you, I'm really excited for you. And I hope that you manage to say that for each one of those 9 decisions. But if you have one or more decisions that you're not clear about, then you absolutely need to tackle those right away if you're really serious about growing your business this year and making it sustainable for the long term and reaching your revenue goals. So if you want some guidance on that, as I said, down on my workbook where I guide you through that. And when you do that, make sure to tick the box to receive my newsletter. That way, you will be invited anytime that I create a free workshop or even my paid programs to help you take your business to the next level. And if you're listening to this in January, as I said before, make sure to be signed up to my newsletter where I'll be able to invite you to this special bootcamp where I will show you in 30 days and actually guide you, not just show you. I will make you take those decisions in 30 days, those 9 key decisions to ignite your business in 2022. So stay tuned and go to tandemnomads.com/247, where you will find the link to download your workbook. And when you do that, sign up to the newsletter. And before I end this episode, I want to share with you a little mantra that I created and that I shared with the participants who joined my workshop. And they were all so inspired by it, though I thought that I would actually share it with you so that hopefully it also motivates you to take decisions along the way. So every time that you struggle or feel stuck, I invite you to write down these 2 sentences and repeat them to yourself. Today is the day I will let go of all my doubts. Today, I will welcome ease and abundance in my life and my business. So on these good words, I hope that you found a lot of motivation today to take decisions. And I hope that one of them will be to join me inside the Tandem Nomads world. So I can't wait to see you there and to meet you in the next episode as well. Stay tuned to turn your challenges into great opportunities to make powerful decisions.